What we're going to do in this video is we're going to look at using commercial parts within the assembly, and we'll look at the first way we'll look at is using the toolbox, and then eventually we'll use the smart fasteners. So what I want to show you, and I must qualify this, my toolbox isn't working 100% correctly, so I will use some different screws here in this particular one. Well, what we want to do is we want to go in first and make sure that the toolbox is available. And to do that, we'll go to Tools up here across the top, and then we'll go to Add-ins. And we must make sure that the toolbox and the toolbox browser are turned on. And then the toolbox is over here on the right-hand side. There is a spot right there, and it says toolbox. Okay, so we'll click on that, and we can add the ANSI inch. Now, if you hadn't done the tools add-ins, you'd have to come over here, and it would tell you it's not loaded, and you'd have to load it. So I'm going to go in there and double click on the ANSI inch, and then you can see we have different types of components here. We've got bearings, we've got bolts and screws, we've got keys, jig bushings, nuts, O-rings, power transmission, so you have different components there, pulleys and such, pins, retaining rings, structural members, you can have structural steel, and then washers. So the first thing I want to do is put a pin in this handle. So I'll go to the pins, and I'll double click that and double click the all pins. And the type of pin it calls for is a spring pin slotted. And I can just drag this over into the assembly, and it wants to put it in there. Now you can see there's a pop-up comes up here, and you've got different size pins, or you can come over here to the left and you've got different size pins here. You can do the length over here, and that's all the different sizes that you could expect for a pin in the commercial grade for a standard set. So you could get those different lengths. If you had to have a different length than any of these, you could get it longer and cut it for that matter. If you do it from over here, you would have to add length to it by dragging this this arrow right here. And you can see it'll actually pop up and tell you what the different lengths are. We don't want a 1 inch. I find it easier to come over here. We do want 5/8 long, and we'll accept that. And you could put as many as you want in. I only want this one right now. We would eventually need 4, so I'm just going to hit escape. Excuse me. Now what we need to do is we need to mate this to the handle. So I'm going to pull that in there a little tighter. Okay, and that's simply, we're going to do a mate, and we'll do this cylindrical. And we got to make sure and get the cylindrical face, and this cylindrical face here. And that's going to make them concentric, and that's a good deal. Then I just want to go in and grab this face right here, this face right here, and it's going to make a tangent. And you can see that right here. But what I need to do now, that's obviously the wrong side, so I want to flip that, and it'll go in and it fits in there just like it's supposed to. So that's what I can do with the pin. Okay, now it also calls for screws in these locations, and that is supposed to be a socket head cap screw, and you can see that we've got bolts up here. We can click on that, and that'll bring it up. Okay, so we've got the bolts, and we really want a socket head screw, and that's in this area right here. So if I double click that, we really want socket head cap screw, and this has been screwing up on my software, so it's probably gonna screw up and it'll give me an error, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you that. I'll drag that out, and what happens here is it's, for some reason, it's going in and screwing up the head of the screw. I will go ahead and use this one. This is the one we would normally use. Now, if I didn't know how long that needed to be, what I would have to do is go back in here and check this hole. Now, to do that, I'm going to get out of that just for a minute. But if I wanted, there are several different ways I could check that, but I could actually go in and open the part. And there's my part, and I can go and click on one of these holes, and that's a mirror, so it's probably going to be this one right here. Yeah, you can see it back there in the background. So it's a 1/4-20, but if I really want to check it, I can click on that, click the edit feature, and it tells me that it's drilled 0.63 and the threads go to a 1/2 inch. So that portion of it we know is a 1/2 inch. So I'll get back out of that. I don't need to save changes. Doesn't really matter. Save yes or no. So I know that's a 1/2 inch. Then I wanted to go in there and measure from this face right here to that face right there, and you'll note that the normal distance is 94 thousandths. So that number plus the 1/2 inch, so it'd be 0.594. Okay, so that means I'm going to need to have at least a 1/2 inch probably on the length. So socket head cap screw, I'll drag that in again. It's going to give me an error, and there you can see the fact that that's not in there. So and I'm showing 0.5625, so 9/16. Well, it was 0.59 something, wasn't it? So this would be fine, or I could use a 1/2 inch. And I could put multiples in there, but I'm just going to put in one. It'll let you put as many as you want. I'm just going to put the one in. I'll hit escape. Okay, so there's that screw. Now to get that screw in the proper location, I would do a mate. Oops, mate, sorry, I'm in the wrong tab. Mate, and I would do, it doesn't matter, I could do either of these cylinders in any of those cylinders and accept that. Now if you want, you could drag that out. Well, I said you could. Let me get out of this mate here just for a second. It's showing that I've got another mate in there, but I don't believe I do. I can go over here and look at it. Yeah, I've got coincidence somehow. I don't know how I got that. I'm going to delete that. I wanted to be able to pull that out. Now then, I would want coincident, but what I'm going to do is I'll click off of that mate, and I want this face right here to be coincident with this face right here, and accept that, and we'll rotate that background to see that it's in the right location. Now again, yours will have a hexagon cut through here, so, and I'll show you what happened here with mine. Now, I don't know why it happened, but I'm going to open that part. And there's the part, and you can see there's a hex right here, and for some reason that got shifted quite a bit. So, and I don't know why that happened like that, but I am going to go back and try to fix it, I think, and see if I can get that remedied. But there's a bigger issue going on there. But that's all we really need on that hardware. Now I would say too that one other issue you might have here is if you had to send this assembly file to someone, you need to send all of the parts that you manufactured as far as you designed, and you really need to have the parts as well. So to do that, what we would want to do is we would want to save those components as a separate file. Realize these are not going to be shipped with that. So if we go back and look in the file folder these would not be part of that. So the easiest way to take care of that situation is to just go back in there and open that part. And do a file save as, and save a copy. And it doesn't matter if you save a copy and open it, or now, well, it might. Saves the document to a new file name without replacing any references. The copy will be saved to the disk and remain closed. Now, if you save the document to a new file name without replacing any references, the copy will be saved to the disk and the file will be opened. So any open file that has referenced this will now refer to the new file. So I want to just do a save as, and we'll go ahead and leave it as that name. Now note, all of my hardware is going into a folder that I created, but I'm actually going to send it to my any angle vise and hit save. So that file is now contained in any angle vise, and I'll do the same on this one, even though it's a boogered up part. Save as, and I'm going to do a save as. Now that should be going to this folder here, and there's that spring pin right there that I just had saved. And we'll close that. Okay, and there are my two pieces. So we saved those and we should be good. Now, I guess that's all we'll do on this particular video. So hopefully that does some good for you.